Nào, Chu Lan Anh, where are you? Đỗ Minh Đun Chỉ, Đỗ Nguyễn Ngọc Dây, where are you? Đoàn Nguyễn Minh Vi, Dương Thị Mỹ Ngọc, Dư Minh Quân, Hà Minh Hoàng, sorry. Hoàng Công Tiến, Huỳnh Ngọc Ý Nhi, Lâm Nguyễn An Khuê, Lê Hải Anh, Lê Trần Thanh Tú, Nguyễn Bảo Hân, Nguyễn Đình Hương Giang, Nguyễn Hồ Anh Thái Anh, Nguyễn Hồ Thái Anh, Nguyễn Khánh Linh, Nguyễn Lê Quỳnh Anh, Nguyễn Mai Khuê, Nguyễn Ngọc Linh, where are you? Nguyễn Ngọc Tâm, Nguyễn Phương Lưu, Nguyễn Sơn Hải Anh, Nguyễn Thái Phương Lúc, Nguyễn Thảo Linh, Phạm Bảo Stacy, no for now. Phạm Minh Phương, Phạm Minh Thư, Phan Nam Phương, Phạm Phương Linh, Phạm Trần Phương Linh, Trần Ngọc Yến Nhi, Trần Quỳnh Chi, Trương Ngọc Thảo Nguyên, Võ Cầm Thi, Vũ Lilian, no. Now the girl just arrived. What's your name? Who else that I haven't called your name or you want your attendance to be taken? What's your name? Phương. Phạm Nam Phương. Okay. Update attendance. Who else want your attendance to be taken? Maybe you from group 1. What's your name? Now, a little bit of housekeeping. This week is week 5. So next week I'm going to explain animations. And then you're going to deliver the assignment by Monday of week 7. Alright? So this week is going to be about weight painting, which is an essential skill in the whole process of character animations. Basically, it's about binding the bones to the corresponding geometries so that you can animate them in the later stage. Alright? So, just a disclaimer, today's lab is going to be about hands-on and practical demo of the workflow, and I expect you to actually do it in class and ask questions, because the weight paintings is not going to be the skill that maybe you watch only a tutorial at home and you don't do nothing. You have to actually do it twice to get it, because it's actually a little bit it's not complicated, but it's require a lot of manual work. So for the weight paintings, it's safe to say that you should reserve at least 1 week for this skill, okay? Because it's the automatic weight distribution is going to help you, but most of the time you'll be fixing weight painting problems. All right? So I will explain later, but for now just keep that in mind, and do plan ahead for the assignment submissions, because remember that we are going to render in cycles. All right? And cycle is not like EV, you click render and 3-5 seconds you get the result. Cycle is a higher quality render engine, and it's require you to wait a little bit, all right, depending on your hardware. Okay, so my tips is after you're done with texturization, you can try to render the model and see how long does it take for you to render out 1 frame, just a still image. How long does it take, and multiply it by 240 frames in the animations. Alright, so how long does it take you in total? Because if it takes you half a day or like more than a day, you should go to the lab at school to render, okay? Or seek additional support for rendering. Alright? So that should be a little bit of housekeeping. Now, in the announcement, I have sent out a Ngon demo fixing. Anyone seen that? Yeah? Is it clearer, the process of fixing Ngon on the face of a character? But you should learn from there and then apply to the other situation as well. Okay, when you see an Ngons, try to seek for the trapezoid shapes. Okay, and then maneuver, remove, add more edges sometimes to be able to fix the Ngon. Alright, takes a little bit of practice. Now, also on the Facebook group, I don't see a lot of people posting questions. Is that because my teaching is very efficient? You have no questions? Or because you're shy? Shy? Don't be shy. Come on. If you're shy, you cannot shine, right? You ask once, I answer. Okay? My ex-student gonna answer. All right? It's like consider is at Reddit. You can also post anonymous questions. Who know who you are, right? So like ask questions and receive comments, not receive answers. All right. And don't wait until the week 6 and then like thousands of questions flooded in. I'm not going to be online like every minute to answer all your questions, right? So just be aware of that. Now, on the assignment 3 and 4, which is about to take place after week 7, on the lecture session, I asked, would you be down to participate in the audio-visual competitions in the International Symposium on Fashions, etc., etc. Patrick has posted a link on Canvas. So our discussion is about you guys finish with me in assignment 1 and 2, and then in assignment 3 and 4, we guide you through the delivery of your assignment 3 and 4 with the theme of Vietnamese heritage, so that afterwards we have a work that can be submitted as a whole group to the competitions. All right, and the prize is 30 million divided by how many? 60 of you. So if we won, it's 200,000 Vietnam dong per person. Not much, but like it's good on your CV, etc. Right? Just being optimistic. It's not guaranteed that we're going to win, but it's a good challenge that we can put ourselves through. And in the next, because now the theme of the assignment is actually open, but I think it's easier for you and more focused for you if I give you a theme. All right. So I'm going to announce that theme by next week. Okay. Updated in the assignment description as well. And then I'm going to have some lecture that I'm going to debrief the competitions and guide you through the process of that. Is that okay? Hello? Yes. Okay, let's go with that. Now, just to understand a little bit of your touch designer learning, how is your understanding of touch designer now in week 5? Huh? So? Beginner. What have you done so far that makes you excited? Huh? Pop. Chop, bot. Okay. Okay, so you learn the basic. Basically, after week 7, we're gonna go a little bit, and after you gain some understanding of 3D, solid understanding of 3D in the next. After week 7, my workflow is my last session is gonna be more about integrating 3D into Touch Designer. All right, and me and Patrick is going to do consultation for assignment 3 and 4. We divide 50-50, so like you can have both me and Patrick for the consultations, and then for the gradings, Patrick is going to do it, but I'm going to be in the moderations panel. I'm going to sit in the presentation as well. All right, so no worries. Okay, so that should be the next couple of weeks. Any questions so far regarding timeline and everything, assignment, etc., etc.? Okay. So today we can go into the content. If you go into the week 5 content, you should be able to see. You should be able to see a blend file over here. Download this blend file. And then we can go into the last session today. Just one more thing before we go in. Next week lecture, week 6, Tuesday, 2 hours going to be dedicated to the review your works, optional. No grades will be given, but you can submit the files. Any question about wet painting, submit the file there. I will answer. Alright? Because I know a lot of students will struggle with wet painting, so that's should be the, and you can find the link of submissions in either the assignments. Alright, week review week 6. Okay, so you can find the instruction here. Okay, now today you will be introduced to wet painting, and there's a page dedicated to wet painting that I have written myself because I think this is essential that you get a detailed instruction on this. But today we're not going to go into each of the tools over here, and I treat this as a reference so that you read this because over here there are a couple of things that maybe I won't be able to explain in the demo today. The symmetry, okay, how to paint in mirror, okay, one side and then in mirror to the other side. And then underneath the mirror over here you will be able to see you will be able to see a mirror as well in figure 19 over here. Basically, in Blender, if you forgot to turn on the symmetry when you paint, there's a workaround that you'll be able to mirror the weight to the other side of the model. Okay, check out this video over here. Okay, sorry, figure 20. A walkthrough show how to copy weight value from one side of the model, then apply it to the other side. Okay, and then there are two weight painting workflow demo, basically from real life consultations, okay, real life examples, which you can learn from your ancestor, okay, your dinosaur, okay. They had the same problem 2-3 years ago, but it's still valid nowadays. Alright, and then external source, this is just an extra, but you can read about all of the other tools in details over here. But I think for the wet paint, this page over here cover mostly the tool that you need to understand. Alright, and today we're going to jump directly into the model. So you learn how to assign a weight to the geometries. You correct a weight into the geometry and then I explain the easy way, which is the automatic way to do weight paintings. But be aware that the automatic way is not the perfect way because it cannot accommodate complex clothes, complex accessory, etc. So you learn the hard way because paint. You learn the hard way because, spell with me, P-A-I-N and then T-I-A-G, painting, and then you add weight at the beginning, so you have weight painting. Okay? Paint is the core of all the professions. Alright? You have painter, the genius artist who suffer. Alright? You want to experience a little bit of that, you go through this lecture with me. Alright? So be aware of that. And then afterward I explain the easy way. Okay? But they say no pain, no gain. Alright? And pressure create diamonds. Right? Okay? So now we go into the demo today. But before that, I will explain a little bit of concept. At the beginning, you just need to understand what is weight painting and what does this color represent. Now, weight painting in simple English is the process of assigning which bone is going to control which part of the body or which part of the geometry. Alright? And in weight paintings, it doesn't work on edge or faces, which are the two other selection in Blender. So you have three selections. Vertex is the dot, edge is the line, and then you have the faces, which is the body. Clear? So in weight painting, it's work on vertex, and that's why you need vertex group. And in other words, weight painting can be also called vertex distributions. Vertex distribution, because basically we tell the program, when I move the bone, how many vertex is going to move along with it. Okay, is that clear? And then the colors over here. Okay, when we go into weight paint modes, the value of 0 is going to be corresponding to blue, and the value of 1 on the other side of the spectrum is red, and it's going to correspond to full influence of the bone. Full influence means that when the bone moves, that vertex is going to move along. No influence means when the bone moves, it doesn't move. Okay? Keep that in mind, and all the values in the middle over here is going to be transitions between no influence to full influence. And we will tackle them one by one. Okay? And I talk about vertex group. Vertex group is basically the thing about it as a container of values. How much of influence, okay, a bone is going to exercise on a number of vertex. Okay? And this information is going to be contained inside a vertex group. Okay? And I show you this in actions. Now, you can turn on solid mode on the character demo over here. Alright? And then I'm going to switch back to pose mode. Pose mode. Okay? And then we're gonna do a little bit of experiment over here. We're going to first select the base body, and then we hold shift to select the armature. Now turn on to the solid mode, because somehow the texture on your ends doesn't display. Go back to the solid mode over here so that you can display the model only with the solid material. Okay, because afterwards, if you have the missing texture, the pink color on the model, is going to be very difficult to see the wet paint. All right. So select this two objects together and make sure that you select the letter, which is the armature. Okay. So when I say select the letter, I mean that when we try to parent this object together, the armature should be the parent, okay, of the body. All right, and we press Ctrl P. And now you're gonna see that there's an option called with empty groups. Don't box select, Shift select the base mesh first and then the armature. With empty group, and now you're supposed to be able to see that the base body is a child of the armature. Ồ đúng chưa? Control P, objects or parents with empty groups. Okay. Once you're done with it, base body is a child of the armature. Alright, and if you go into the base body, you click on the base body now. On the modifier, you'll be able to see an automatic armature. You see that Blender has automatically add an armature modifier into the modifier over here. Alright, and the object has been selected as the armature, which means that there is a binding between the body and the bones. Okay, and just to simplify the wet painting process later, we're going to move this armature up on top of the subdivision. Okay, and we're going to click on these buttons, edit mode, okay, so that we can display the armature in edit mode as well. Alright, click on it. And then now in the vertex group, which is the inside of the data, object data property over here, you should be able to see all of the vertex group with the corresponding name of the bones. Alright, torso, chest, neck, head, shoulder, upper arm, lower arm, etc., etc. Okay, and you can scroll down to check all of them. You can search for the name, for example, head over here by typing on the small menu over here. Okay, you can rename them, but I don't recommend rename them. Okay, now what we have just done is basically, yes, I think we're streaming, eh? I'm streaming on YouTube. Huh? Yeah? what we just has done is basically we tell Blender that, okay, we're going to bind the body of the geometry of the body to the bones, and we create all of the vertex group over here so that we can define which bone is going to control which part of the body. Okay? Now, what do I mean by that? If you go into the body now and you go into weight pane, and for example, you go and find the head bones over here, head vertex group over here, you're gonna see only this head vertex group. Okay, select only that group. Okay, because we're going to do a little bit of demo over here. Okay, and uncheck the vertex selections over here. By default it's not selected, but because this file is the file of demo that I have used, so you have to uncheck this one. Okay, and now we're going to add a vertex weight to the geometry over here. Okay, and a little bit of introductions. So on the right side, left side over here, you have all the tools: blur, average, smear, gradients, which is available in the weight painting page that I have given you. And one by one, okay, in this demo I try to use most of them so that you understand what is the functions. But over here is the paintbrush. Okay, you can increase the radius, and the weight here is actually the colors. Weight of 1 corresponding to what color, guys? Red color. And weight of 0 corresponding to blue. So you see the body of the character over here is fully in blue. Alright, and basically we have no influences of the head bones over here to the body. Alright, and if we increase this value to 1, the strength we keep it at 1. Okay, and we try to paint on the vertex over here. So in weight paint you need to paint on the vertex, which is the point. If you place the brush over here and try to paint, nothing is going to change. Alright, or you place it on the face over here, nothing is going to change. You place it on the poise and you click, and then you're gonna see the vertex here being changed into 1. Okay, corresponding to the red color. Ồ đúng nhỉ? Do that on your ends. Okay. Just do one, okay, and do it for the area around the face of the character or the head of the character. Later on I'm going to explain, but basically the bones should be controlling the adjacent or the closest geometry to it. That's why we have to place the bone in the middle of the geometry, because of that. Alright? Okay, once you're done with it, everyone done? You have at least one point with red colors. Okay? we can try this one over here now. If you go to the object modes and you click on the armature, we go to the pose mode, and now if you try to move the bones, you should be able to see that vertex or that dots moving around with the bones basically. Ổn không nhỉ? Later. Just do the remote. Just to understand the basic first. Ổn không nhỉ? So you see the connection between vertex group, bones, and geometry. So the geometry should be the child of the armature, and in the vertex group, we store how much of influence that head bone is going to exercise on the vertex. Is it clear? Yeah? Because of these connections, the name of the bones and the vertex group has to remain the same because of that reason. Because now if I change this one to head without capital, okay, and I try to move it, nothing is going to happen over here, see? So the name of the bones and the name of the vertex group has to be the same. Capitals and uppercase and lowercase apply. Okay, just think about it as an HTTP link when you type in an URL. If the URL is not correct, you cannot get to the website. Alright? Now if I rename this back to head, you're going to see this happen. Alright? Now, if you don't see anything moving, check if you have painted on the head vertex group. Okay? If you have other groups selected, it means that you're painting on the wrong vertex group. And as a result, when you try to move the head bones over here, nothing happens. Animation ready? Oh, so advanced. Let's try. Pause mode. You're running with a lantern in front of the vehicle. Know what that means? Huh? I explain that later, but for now, just go back and pause. Okay? You have to click on the armature. Go back to object mode, exit object mode, and then click on the armature. Then you can find the pose mode. Okay. Yes, because when you paint with the brush, maybe you paint on this part as well. Delete. You decrease to 0.
But it's not working.
It's not working. Radius, yes. Headphones. It's not working. You have a mouse. Plug in the mouse. Decrease to 0. Just because touch bar đấy. What is it? Mark M3. This is what is it? M4. See?
No, it's not working too.
Now, let's see. Radius. Because this is the old version. With the old version, you have to use subtract. And increase this one to 1, then you can delete. Now, everyone, the current version in class is 4.5.2. So you should have that version because otherwise the workflow and the icon is going to be a little bit different. Alright? Now, okay, one. Cannot pay now.
Nó có bị dính màu lên mắt. Môn nào vậy? Tao tôi lên kiểu bung mà. Nhưng mà cái này không cần nói
Okay.
Pen cái
See, let me see the pulse mode. Okay, now this is because you have painted on the body of the character, right? Show me the vertex. Oh. And when you paint, then okay, go back to the stuff. No, pulse mode. Because when you paint, because of the radius, sometimes the paint is going to be affected this area as well. When you zoom in and zoom out without reducing the radius. Right? It seems a little bit visible, but later on I'm going to call it. Okay, let's keep it for now. Reduce to 0. What version is it? 4.5. Upgrade to 4.5. Otherwise, you look on the brush, and then on the brush, I'm rate on 4.5. Come on, guys. Because this game. And over here, that is a shiny one. On the Cannot eat.
Hốc gì á? Cái bọng ngông. Như vậy. Ta không có ta bắt đá.
Okay, now I show you one common mistake. Okay, I show you the correct way first, and then I show you how to fix the mistake. Now, when you work with this, this is one way of doing the weight paint. Okay, so you assign to the vertex over here using the brush. You can paint them, okay, and to remove a poise, you can either decrease this to 0, okay, and then remove it. Radius. Weight paints. Just a minute. Okay guys, just I think the problem is just the subdivision being underneath the armature is going to deform and basically subdivide the mesh even more. So that is a little bit difficult for you to paint on because now the program doesn't know which is the vertex you work on. So for now, okay, I will put the subdivision on top of the armature, and as a result you have the whole voice like this. It's easier to paint on. Alright, so that should be a tips over here. It was easier in the previous version, okay, but now maybe they changed a little bit the workflow. Anyway, you you can paint on this one. Object modes now. Yes. Okay, save this one. À đúng rồi, cái model bài 2 đấy là để inspect xem các bạn làm có những người không submit assignment 1 thì mình sẽ phải thầy sẽ phải rào như vậy. Thì bạn có thể submit cái model không có modifier là được nha. Cái đấy để hỏi sau đi. Okay, for some reason Blender behave differently, but now it should fix the problem now. Alright, so to add in a vertex over here, you can add it in and then you can decrease the weight to 0 And then if you remove it, you should be able to remove them. Okay? And if you don't see it removing, it means that you doesn't paint on the points. Okay? You need to paint on the points over here. Alright? So that's just using the brush, and you're gonna notice that, okay, using the brush is a little bit messy, because sometimes, for example, you want to paint the head of the body, okay, but you use the bigger radius over here and paint, okay, which is faster, right? But at the same time you are affecting everything else that is under the radius of the brush, including the arm over here. And now you go back to pose mode, and every time you move the head over here, the whole body move as well, and your model is all distorted. You're gonna cry and you feel painful because I didn't tell you, but actually I'm telling you now. Alright, so the correct way to assign, or the easier way to assign the weight to a certain part of the body is not using the brush. The brush is for details. Okay, the way you are doing it is you going to select, you're going to edit mode on the base body, edit mode. Alright, and then you're going to select the vertices, or the area of the mesh that you want the bone to control. Alright, so you can turn on X-ray, for example, and then you do box select over here, the whole head. Alright, and then you check underneath over here, you select everything like this. Okay, and now if you go into the weight pane and you turn on the vertex selections over here, you should be able to see all of the vertex on the forehead over here has been selected. And now, okay, you click on this button, vertex selection is going to highlight all of the vertex you have selected in the edit mode. Okay, you can either paint using the normal paintbrush over here and paint, and you don't need to care about the body, because basically if you turn on this button, it's going to mask out all of the body part that is not selected. Alright, and now you can paint and paint and paint with the T, not without the T. Alright, and this is one way you can do it, alright, with the brush, but there's another way which is easier. You go into the vertex group over here, and you're gonna see a small menu over here called weight. Alright, and you increase the weight here to 1, press enter, and then you click on a side, click on it, and the whole head is going to be red. Oh, đúng nhỉ? Yeah, can you do that? Select first the geometry part in selections in edit mode, and then switch to weight paints. Go to vertex group, and then weight here aside. Switch to solid mode so you can see. Oh, look, yeah, you have the red head situation going on. Yeah. And in edit mode, you can use box select. You can use circle select. You can select each point is more precise. You go to select mode and you select edit mode. Edit mode. You are in amateur. You have to go back to object and then to the edit mode. Yes. You select all the eyes. Yeah. Assign the value of 1 here. 1. Type in 1. Yeah. And click on assign. Assign. Now you go back to pose mode. It should go. It should follow the object mode first and then pose mode. Pose mode. And now pose it. See? Ổn không nhờ? Okay. So you know how to assign very quickly the weight for certain part of the body using bones and vertex group, right? Now, we're gonna do the same for the neck over here. Okay, if we click on the neck over here, and we go back to edit mode, okay? Now in edit mode over here you see overlapping geometry. If you see that, you need to turn on this button on the armature so that you have the posing of the armature in edit mode as well. Okay, so now it's gonna be a little bit difficult to see. So the neck is just this area rather underneath the head over here. Okay, so we're gonna select them, and I'm going to go back to pose mode and clear transform on. Okay, so that I can see the neck easier. And then edit mode, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the loop cuts around the bottoms of the character's head over here, and I shift select to select the whole loop cuts underneath, the loop cuts that cover the neck basically, and the next end here. Alright, so I'm gonna select all of this. And now I can go into vertex group, and then with the value of 1 over here, make sure that the neck is selected. Okay, you can either do this in edit mode or you can go back to weight pane mode and turn on this button. It's the same thing. Edit mode, neck over here, and then click on assign. Alright, and then if we go back to weight panes, it's going to give you this red color on the neck over here. And now if I try to move the head over here in pose mode, okay, I have to move the necks over here as well. Alright, now can somebody tell me, when I move the neck over here, why the geometry of the head is moving along as well?
The head is the child of the neck.
Yes. Okay. What's your name? Be like Tiến. Teacher teach 1, Tiến understand 10. Okay. Now, in the weight pane mode over here, if you go back to the weight pane, you're gonna see blue color, meaning the neck doesn't influence the head, but because the head bones, if we click on the head over here, it's a child of the neck bone, and as a result, when we move the neck, the head is going to follow along, and hence move the head as well. Ồ đúng nhỉ? So you see the reason why we extrude the bones manually, because if you do rigidifies or meta-rig, when something happens to your rig, you see me at plagiarism missing. Right? Okay. Now you understand the relationships between the colors and the bones over here. I'm going to explain a little bit about the transition between bones. Now, on the neck over here, edit mode, weight paint modes, I'm going to paint. You're going to see that as I painted, as I assign the value of 1 to all this geometry, automatically Blender is going to actually give a median value to this geometry, which is basically the red color in heads, because in the position of joints or transition between one part of the body to another, you need both bones exercising influence on that particular area, so that when you move the arm, for example, on the elbows or the head over here, it doesn't cause a man deformation over there, basically. Because now if I this is just a demo, if I increase the value of bone hits over here to 1, for example, I increase over here to 1, okay. Probably this one doesn't show, but let's try. When I try to move the next here, both doesn't show because the head here is having full influence. But basically, okay, let's go back to this weight paint. I'm going to remove a little bit of weights over here. You need to be able to see this kind of transition between the neck of the character and the head, as well as underneath here. You're going to see a little bit of transition. Transition means that the color is not going to be red corresponding to 1, but it's gradually transition to 0. Alright, so you see orange is about 0.7, 0.8, 0.7, and then to 0.7, 0.6, 0.5, and then to 0 over here. Alright, so that when you try to move the characters, it doesn't cause any kinds of man deformations, because you have this kind of transition between bones. Alright, and I can test this one. Maybe I add a little bit of weight on the shoulder over here, shoulder R, and if I add the shoulder over here, yes, 2 loop cuts. Alright, if I add the shoulder R over here to 1, the size 1, go back to weight paint, it's going to be on red, and when I move, for example, go smooth. Yes, because this one is IK, so if I move this one with the IK bones, you're gonna see that over here is look a little bit deformed, because if I go back to weight paints, you're gonna see the colors here a little bit too harsh, and as a result, the way I can reduce it is to basically check the neck over here, and you see over here is red color. So basically, what does it mean? It means that this vertices over here is going to be more influenced by the neck, and as a result, it stays solid when the shoulder move. So the way we can reduce it, we can either reduce this value over here, 0.5 for example, and then we paint on this, and you see one by one, it's going to restore the shape of the shoulder. Okay, and then we can use blur tools over here a little bit. So blur is basically smooth out the transitions. Okay, and then on the shoulder over here, I smooth it out as well. So if I smooth out the transitions over here, you're gonna see that it's gonna deform. Basically, it's following the position of the shoulder over here. Okay, so just keep in mind that the between this geometry, you need a little bit of green and orange to be able to smooth them out. Okay, sometimes it can go as far as this. Okay, so this is just to show you the tools that you can use to smooth out the deformations, basically. All right. And there's some part underneath it, but we can correct it later. Okay. So yeah, the process of weight painting most of the time is about finding the right weight paint value for each of the vertices so that it deforms correctly. All right, and what I have just shown you is how you can assign manually a weight to the characters. All right, and then you can correct the weight paints by modifying those vertices values so that you can reduce the malformations of the characters. So that should be a little bit about the manual weight paint process. Over here I'm going to clear transform on this character. Pose clear transform on. Alright, and then I go to, and then I explain a little bit about the way that you can inspect. Okay, for example, when you try to there will be some error when you try to, for example, when you try to correct the weight paint on the characters over here, and you use the weight and radius over here, because the radius is very big. So when you try to paint on the head, for example, it's going to affect the other parts of the body as well. Okay, even though you reduce this one to 0.5 for example, and you paint on this, and you see nothing happens, it's still blue. But when you try to move the character, pose mode, and it doesn't follow objects. Weight paints. And for example, you have a hidden geometries over here somehow. Okay, when you try to paint the characters, and maybe you don't even see the, because it's 0, let's say 5. Okay, and you see this color is very difficult to identify, but when you try to pose the character, for example, pose mode, and you pose the head bones over here, this part is moving along as well. Alright, don't be scared, okay, because there's a solution for this. Okay, first thing, when you encounter this problem, it means that in the geometry somehow the vertex group that you have on the characters over here is the head over here is controlling or having the wrong value or the wrong position on the body of the characters. By default, only the most closest vertices to the bone should have the values, the controlling values on the vertices. Alright, if you encounter these things, you can let the character pose in the edit mode, and then you open up end on the side menu, and then you go to edit mode, and then you edit mode on the meshes. Okay, edit mode end, and then you use the vertex selections over here. You select this one over here, and then you switch to weight paint and click on the vertex selections. You should be able to see the selection of the geometry over here, and on the items, okay, on the item tabs over here, you should be able to see a vertex weight menu. And basically in this vertex weight menu over here, you'll be able to understand which is the bone that actively controlling this part of the body. Alright, so once you know this value is on the head vertex group, you can go back to edit mode, and then you can go into the vertex group over here, and then you can select. Alright, and it's going to highlight all of the vertex that is being influenced by the head bones. And over here you have the head, which is correct, but over here you have some selection that is not correct, so we can deselect this part. Alright, by box selects E, and then we holding shift to deselect that part. Alright, so now we select only on the vertices underneath, and then we can click on remove, and now it fixed the problem of deformations. Is that okay, guys? Yeah, it's a little bit go around, but unfortunately that's the way the program works. Alright, So let me just simplify this a little bit. Okay, once you see the problem of deformations like this, okay, you can go into edit mode and then you select for example 1 point on the part of the deformations, and you're going to see a list of all of the bones and vertex group that having influence on this particular vertex. Okay, and then afterward you can click on and you can find that vertex group in the vertex group menu over here. Okay, in my case I have the head over here, but you can type in the name in the search box over here, click on select and see for yourself which part of the geometry is not supposed to correct, is not supposed to control this part of the body, and you deselect the part that is correct. B for box, select, okay, and make sure you in X-ray mode so you'll be able to correct them, and then you click on remove. Alright, it's gonna fix the problem. So when you work with weight paintings, most of the time, okay, if you have characters, alright, complex accessory, clothes, you're gonna run into the problem of this, of weight paintings, and this is the way that I show you to correct the weight paint. Alright, so this is basically the demo on weight painting. Now you know the basic, you understand the tools, you know the colors, what does it mean, right? I'm going to show you quicker way to select and deselect, as well as posing without having to go back and forth between weight paint and edit mode. Alright, now if you select the bone first and then you select the mesh, you'll be able to access the weight paint with the bone visible. Alright, and if you click on the bones over here, the bone icons over here, now you'll be able to select the bones. If you hold Alt, you'll be able to select the bones. Alright, and now you can pose the bone in weight paint mode as well. Alright, so maybe it's easier for you. Okay, and chest over here, you want to pose them. Okay, and I suggest when you correct the weight paint, you need to pose the character exactly in the way that you see the deformation, so that you see where is the deformation and you try to tackle them. Alright, okay. Ổn không nhỉ? One more thing, if you click on this vertex selection, I here and there click on it already, you'll be able to mask out all of the unselected vertex. Okay, so you can click on this and you can click on the model. Okay, it's just divided in this way because the subdivision is on top of the armature. If I move this one here, it's going to be easier to see. Okay, and you can select all of the, you can select the vertices by holding Alt. Okay, and you can use also face selections. With face selection over here, you basically mask out all of the other face. So if you add a weight over here, it only affects the selections, okay, and it doesn't go through the other side of the selections. All right. Same thing for the vertex over here. If I paint, it will be limited only on the vertex selections over here. All right. So some extra function for you. And then also, when you work with a symmetry character, when you correct the weight paint with the brush, remember to turn on these buttons. Symmetry on the x-axis, and if you go to the bone first and then mesh weight paints, if you paint on one side, the z-axis, sorry, I have to flip it on the z-axis, x-axis, yes, the mirror, yes, just a little bit, mirror vertex group, topology mirror. Yes, because I select the wrong. If I select now the let's say the upper arms over here, upper arm dot R, I select this one, and then I try to paint with the mirror and the topology mirror on. I paint on one. When I click on the upper arm L over here, it's going to mirror to the other side as well. Okay. So with symmetrical character, when you try to correct the weight paint, remember to turn on these buttons in the weight paint modes and topology mirror, so that it flip to the opposite bones. Okay, right to left and left to right. Ồ đúng nhỉ? Yeah. And if you happen to forgot to create the same or to click on this button, you can do a workaround. So for example, you have the upper arms over here, and then you try to correct the weight paint, for example, like this, right? I'm just doing just to demo, right? And then you recognize you didn't have the symmetry turned on, so how to work around it? All right, you can click on the upper arm L, and then you go into duplicate vertex group, which is this little buttons over here. Duplicate vertex group. Click on it, and you have a copy of the upper arm L. All right. Now, if you go to, you search for upper arm, and you want to mirror it to the other side, R, okay, you delete this group, and then you rename this one as upper arm R. And now, if I click on the upper arm R, I should have the same. Yes, because I haven't mirrored it. So upper arm R, mirror vertex group topology. And if I click on this now, I should be able to see upper arm L. Yeah, upper arm R. Wait. So upper arm L over here, and then I have the upper arm L copy. I'm gonna mirror vertex group, sorry, without topology. It's going to mirror to the other sides, and over here I can rename this as upper MR. And now I have the same weight bends from one side to another. Ồ đúng nhờ? Yeah? It's P-A-I-N. Okay? Nào, qua thung lũng đau thương đến cánh đồng vui. We're gonna do the easy way. Okay? The easy way that most of the YouTuber will teach you, which is I'm going to reset the pose of this character. Pose mode, pose, clear transform, on. Alright, now the easy way is you going to click on the mesh first, and then the second is the armature, and then Control P with automatic weight. Click on it, and now you go to the pose mode. It's complete. You'll be able to pose the character in 5 seconds. Yeah! Okay, let's go. We have 15 minutes earlier than the schedule.
Can we use it?
You can use it. Alright, I recommend you use it first before you manually weight bend. And for the most part, it's going to work without any problems. Okay? But you're gonna notice I have the earrings over here not following. So how to fix it? Can somebody tell me what's the problem with the earring? Weight bending. Now how to fix this? This is to test you. Now if you see this problem, how you inspect the problem. How you find the way to fix it. What do I need to press here to be able to find the problem with the earring? Edit mode. Now you're gonna be my ChatGPT for today. Edit mode. Okay, what else? Where do I click to be able to find what are the bones I have any influence on a particular vertex? Huh? Where is that little menu?
And I took
Yes, but where do I click first? Huh? The vertex on the earring. Just click on one. Okay. Edit mode. Click on the earrings, and then in the items over here, I don't see the menu. Okay, the little menu, even though I have opened it up, it means that it doesn't belong to any of the vertex group over here. So how to fix this? What do I need? Which bone do I need to make this vertex and the whole earring over here following? The head bones, right? So we type in head over here, and then we select the whole earring. I can select only one vertex, and then I can press Control L. Control L is link selections. So any of the vertex that is connected to this vertex over here is going to select it. Alright, or you can use box select, circle select, doesn't matter. Click on the side and it snap back to the ears. Ổn không nhỉ? Yeah? And now if I check the weight pane over here, you'll be able to see weight panes. You're gonna be able to see that this earring has been turned into red color. And now if I click on vertex selection, you should be able to see on this particular vertex over here, it has the value, it has the head vertex group and the value is 1. Yeah? Now a little bit more advanced. What if I want to make this earring move differently to the whole body? Because when you have an earring, it's gonna go back and forth. Create another bones. Where do I extrude it from? Head bones, yes. Okay, edit mode. And click on the bones. Edit modes. And we're gonna extrude a bone from the top of the character over here. And then I'm going to Alt P, disconnect bone, and then move this one around the area of the earrings. And I'm gonna rename this bone as earring, for example. And then how do I do to assign a weight to this? How do I do to tell Blender the earring should follow this bone? Assign a weight how?
Select it again.
Select what?
Select the earrings again in edit.
Select the earring. Go back to objects, edit mode, Control L, and then what do I do? Huh? Yes. Yes, because we don't have the vertex group in the original, so we need to create a new vertex group. Okay, and we call it earring. We need to rename it exactly like the name of the bones, earring. All right, and then we click with the value of 1 over here. We click on assign. Okay, and now we go back to pose mode. We should be able to use this one and move it alone. But the nice thing about this workflow is because the earring is a child of the head, when we move the head, the earring moves as well. Okay, so this is the way you rig and assign weight for accessory. Okay, don't do the accessory with automatic weight pane first, because for example, if you have a character holding the gun, or you have a character that has wings, or you have a very complex dress that is not follow the body, and it's some kind of a big dress that is wrapping around the body of the character, and you don't delete the geometry underneath the clothes, it's going to cause the automatic weight distribution to either not letting you doing the automatic weight distribution, is give you the bone heap distribution error, which I explained in the common problem, or it will deform both the geometries and the clothes, the body geometry and the clothes. And in that case, the only way you can do is go back to manual weight paint and repaint them. Alright? So, yeah, that's just the reality of this sessions. Now, the demo model that I have over here is an easy model because the clothes is following the body of the character. both on the pants and on the shirts. Okay, but you have like character level, especially long dress and long coat. Okay, for example, a coat that maybe you have the legs over here, you cannot delete, but the coat is around the knees of the characters on an outside, right? Basically, you need to correct the weight band because when the automatic weight distribution do what it does is going to assign both the weight to the pants of the character and the knees of the character, and also on the flap of the outside. And sometimes when you try to move the character legs, it's gonna stick out of the outside. Alright? So just to describe that to you. And with the demo today, I think you'll be able to tackle the problem. In essence, you just need to identify the man deformations on the vertex with the little menu over here. Alright? And see for yourself which are the bones that is not supposed to control the that particular vertex and remove them. Alright? And the deformation should be gone. Is that okay? Yes? Okay? Weight bands. Okay, I had a little bit of deformations over here. All right, can somebody tell me why this clipping of the clothes when I try to move the arcade bones? The shirt weight should be similar color to the geometry over here. Alright, and to correct it, you can go into the weight bands and then using this sample weight, you click on any of the geometry over here. You have the weights over here as the weight of the brush, and then you can start correcting them. Upper arms, yes. And you can start correcting it. Or you can go into edit mode, which is quicker, and then type in 0.8 assign. Okay, and then for this loop cut as well, assign. And then you smooth out the value of this weight bands. You smooth out a little bit of the values over here. Blur. Alright, so it fixed the problem over here. Okay, that's just a very quick demo of the and then you have two other cases over here, which is basically the same demo that I show you. Okay,
like I try to get up to
you see Basically here there's some vertices that is not being controlled by the foot bones. Okay, it's being controlled by the IK, and then I remove it basically. Alright, so you can watch this extra video on the page over here. But I think today I have explained most of the things you need to know about weight painting. Is there any questions? Huh? No questions? One seem perplexes.
So if I have some clothing parts that are overlapping with the body, and the automatic weight painting.
No, you have to delete the underneath part. Ideally, you should have only one, either the clothes or the body on the bones. Because if it's 2 layers, when you try to move the arms, the body is gonna stick out of the clothes. Yeah. Later.
So like for the automatic weight, you have to remove like the limbs underneath or to add. So like there's no overlapping.
Yes. As I said before, in the rigging process, you have to already delete all of the part of the body that is covered by clothes. Okay? So that you avoid automatic weight distribution failure later. Okay? Before you do weight distribution, automatic weight distribution, you should delete all those things. And don't be surprised or don't be impressed if at the first go is going to deform the body of the cancer. Because that's why I'm teaching you the hard way first. Okay?